What's going on, guys? Captain Cody Davis back again for another episode of Tight Splice Charters here. And we are currently 5 days post-tournament here, 5 days after the Roland Martin Marine Series qualifier that me and Kelly were fishing in. I'm assuming most of you that are watching this video have already watched my previous video on the channel, which was my practice day leading up to the event. And if you haven't watched that, I definitely encourage you to go back and watch that video. Kind of showed what I was looking for, and I kind of talked my way through what I was looking for, kind of what was going on the lake. And I had I think I had like 28 pounds or something, and shook off a bunch of big ones and caught a 9-1. So just an awesome day on the lake. And that's basically how the tournament went also. I'll kind of just get right to it. Me and Kelly ended up in 4th place with 28.45. Now, that's a hell of a bag, right? I don't care what lake in the country you're fishing on. You can never be disappointed with 28 pounds, 28 and a half at the end of the day. The weights were really tight between 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. So we were in 4th at 28.45. My good buddies Matt and Nick. Matt from Matt W Fishing, the channel that I always plug here on my channel, my good friend. He had 28.50, so 5/100ths of a pound was the difference. And I forget what my buddy Alex had. I want to say like 28.84. Okay, so a quarter of a pound, right? Separated us from 4th to 2nd. And then it took, to win the tournament, it took 37.04 pounds. You heard me right. Over 37 pounds. The guys who won it, I don't know them personally, but I spent about 2 hours alongside them at the weigh-in, just hanging out, having a couple of drinks, waiting for checks and things. We'll kind of get into that here in a minute. I mean, first I just want to get into congratulations to them again if you guys are watching. I don't know if you guys watch my channel, but that's the biggest bag caught on this lake. And me and Breezy were talking about it. I mean, 6 years, 5 years, something like that. I mean, just incredible bet for June, in June. And we're going to get into even why it's crazier they caught it in June here as we kind of break down everything. So going into the tournament, me and Kelly really assumed, and I believe I said it in my, at the end of my practice video, I'd be disappointed with under 25. Do I thought we had a chance at 30? Yes. Yes, I really did think we had a chance at 30 pounds, judging by the fish we found. And me and Kelly in the back of our minds thought we needed 30 pounds to win. We just never really felt like 28 was going to get it done. Now 28, almost 29 pounds won the last event, but just judging by the way the lake was fishing and setting up, we knew someone was going to crack that 30 pound mark. I think there were 30 bags over 20 pounds or something. The lake just fished phenomenal, but backing up to practice, I don't know how much I really detailed it in the practice video. You know, guiding on the lake, obviously has its perks, right? I'm constantly practicing for upcoming events and keeping in touch with what's going on with the fish on the lake. But when I first found those fish, they were actually spawning. And me and the customer I was with just had an epic couple-hour session there, just caught a lot of real big ones and just a ton of fish. I wanted to go back out the next day, but that we had a really bad tropical storm come through, and I wasn't really feeling well. I had some kind of sinus infection, and with the baby and everything, I didn't want to push it and go back out. I sent Kelly out. Well, Kelly went out practicing for us, but I sent him the general area where I had found those fish, and he went in there and only made 2 casts. And his 2 casts were a 7 and a 4, and he got out and went looking completely different areas. Monday, in the practice video, when I went in there, the fish were set up a little bit different. So basically, in that video, the first 2 big ones that I caught in the video, that first area, that was the first area where we intended to fish the tournament. And they were there. They were set up a little different, but I caught those 2 big ones. I had the confidence. I said, you know what, I'm gone. And I ended up going to a secondary area just to kind of have a plan B. And that's ended up where I caught the 9 and like a 7 and shook off some more that you probably didn't see. But that was where me and Kelly started the event. It was a smaller area. I thought it was going to have a lot less pressure than the other area. And I said, I think we need to go there at low light, first thing, do one pass through there, and then get gone and go hunker down in our primary area. And that was the plan. And that's what we did. Me and Kelly took off. We got there, and funny enough, it was a damn parking lot, which is a crazy thing on Okeechobee. I don't care how hidden you think you are on this lake, behind the grass, or how outside the box you think you're thinking. When it comes to tournament day and it comes to fishing against the best on the lake, like this series makes you do, these guys are good and they're gonna find it. All right, 99.9% of the time. I didn't think this many people would find it, but they did. And rolled in there. Kelly's first bite of the morning was a 4-pounder, which was good. But it didn't take us long to really not. We just weren't feeling it. You know, I mean, and at the end of the day, hindsight's 2020. We stayed there entirely too long. I want to say we were there for almost 2.5 hours, when realistically we should have made one 30-minute pass and got the hell out of there. But that's all part of it, right? So made the pass through there. Kelly caught a 4 on a frog, and then we started playing the chess game of boats, right? This guy's fishing super slow. This guy's fishing super fast. You don't want to get in anyone's rotation. You don't want to cut anybody off. People are cutting you off, right? It becomes, you're spending more time focusing on how not to piss this person off and how to, but still defend what you want to fish than you are fishing. And I don't fish really well that way, nor does Kelly. And after the second pass, I kind of said, hey man, I think we need to go. And he said, yeah, I agree. Which, getting back to, I talk about picking your tournament partners. I don't think me and Kelly ever disagree on judgment on what to do on tournament day, which is why I think we fish so well together. I think our minds really think alike. There's very rarely a time where I say, I think we should need to leave, and he says, no, I think we need to stay. So we trolled out, we jumped up on plane, and we got to our secondary area. My wife and my father-in-law were fishing somewhat close, and to our surprise, when we got there, it wasn't very crowded. And the crowd that there was a spot within the spot that we wanted to fish, right? Which we believed had the best fish. There was a little cluster of boats just south of us, it would be. And funny enough, that's where first and second came. First and second place came 150 yards from us, but they were fishing 20 yards around, from each other, all right? And there was a couple other boats mixed in there, and there was only really one other boat in our area, and which was great. We figured there'd be 4 or 5 boats in there. Lay down, pick the flipping rods up. I think I caught a fish literally on my first flip, a small fish. And backing up, we ended up leaving that first area with only 4 fish, and I think we had like 9 pounds with 4 fish. Caught a small keeper, which gave us, confidence. All right, well, they're here. No one's really beat them up yet. And I think Kelly's first bite was a 5.5. So that was the kind of bites that we knew we were going to get in the event, or we knew we needed to get in the event. We knew we were in the area. And getting that bite that quick, literally 4 minutes in, just settled us down. We knew, all right, now we are here. We got nowhere else to go. We got nowhere else to be. We just need to concentrate here and not let anything bother us, not let our mind wander, because bass fishing is 90% mental. I don't care what anyone says. So you get in the right mindset, you settle down, you fish way better, and that's what we did. And adjusting and adapting on the water, real time, is what it takes, I think, a lot of times on this lake. So in this particular area, we were around a boat lane and a boat trail, and I think the reason those spawners were there earlier in the week were because there's basically a highway, right? My father-in-law said it just like, told me this years ago. Bass are like deer on this lake when they're moving, right? If they're feeding and stuff, yeah, they're gonna get up in the grass and but if they have something in their mind, like I want to go spawn, I want to get to the back and do my thing, they're going to take the easiest route they can to get there. And on this lake, that's boat lanes, right? We've cut a trail for them. In this particular area, it was an intersection of 2 main boat lanes. So it was basically a highway intersection, and these fish were just dumping off their spawning. Now, after they're done spawning, they're going to hang around there right now this time of year because we're in June. This was a very late wave of fish, and now tournament time, they were not spawning anymore, but the bluegill were. So we had bluegill spawning, so we had fish hanging out there. Then we also had fish that were just leaving from spawning, that were taking those lanes and heading out to the main lake, and we were kind of cutting them off. So it was just a perfect little area, a little spot within the spot, like I said. And it was a little windy now by the time we got there. And the other thing was, there was a lot of big gizzard shad blown up in this area as well. And during practice, you guys saw I caught that one nice one on the spook. I was seeing lots of fish blow up and things like that. So I told Kelly, I said, you know, originally we kind of found them with a frog. We thought we were going to be frogging and flipping. But with that wind, I said, this is going to move some bait around. I picked up this guy right here. Just that same spook I caught him on in practice. And a lot of you have been asking what kind of spook I throw. There's the Vixen. There's all kinds of different spooks, right? Everyone makes one. But this is just an original Hayden Super Spook. This is actually the saltwater one. And I take those big clunky silver hooks off and replace them with number 2 Mustad or Gamakatsu triple grip hooks. I don't put a feather on the hook or anything. Would I like to? Yeah, I'll probably start wrapping my own on there, but didn't need it today and haven't needed it in the past few events. This bait, and it's funny, this bait here has really played a role in most of my good finishes I've had. You know, with the McMillan tournament that me and my brother won, 2 of the fish I believe we weighed in came on on this guy. In the last Rollins, our biggest fish, a 611 I think it was, came on this guy. And I'm just really starting to mix in a spook a lot into my arsenal and really starting to dial it in, I feel like. And it's a big fish catcher if thrown in the right circumstances, which this was. So thought it was going to be moving a lot of shad in there. So, you know, these fish, when they get wind, so shad, I've said it before in my previous videos, they move with the wind. We don't have natural current on this lake. It's all driven by wind. So when you get some wind blowing, it starts stirring those shad up. It starts pushing them towards whichever way the wind's going, and the wind was blowing right into this area. Wasn't hearing any fish striking it or anything, but I just felt like they were going to be keyed up looking for these shad, and picked this bait up, and it was, I think, my 10th cast with it. I caught one almost 5 pounds, right? So that made me feel really good. Started throwing it around and started getting a lot of bites on it, some smaller fish, but you know, I knew, okay, they're on this thing. And Kelly was switching back and forth between a frog and and pitching, and he wasn't getting that many bites because when we first laid down in there, it was pretty calm, and he caught that 5-pounder, 5.8, and then this was like 20 minutes later, the wind started blowing, and they literally just kind of turned off the flipping deal. And like I said, they're out here roaming looking for shad. It wasn't. I think I looked at the GoPro footage. 7 minutes later, I caught a 5.5 on the spook. All right, so now I've got confidence, and it kind of just turned into a 1-2 punch where Kelly just kind of kept flipping anyway, right? He'd mix in a chatterbait. He was kind of just throwing around behind me, and he was catching fish flipping as well. But he told me, you know, you just got do not. He wouldn't let me put this thing down, and I didn't. But after those 2 fish, we went a couple hours, you know, an hour and a half without making a cull maybe, and kind of let our little sweet corner rest. Went back by it and made a long cast with this thing out into a trail, you know, where again, those fish are funneling out. They're using that, they're moving, and it's an ambush point, right? There's going to be a little bit more current, and it's going to be just a slight bit deeper in those trails because of, you know, boat traffic. Boats, years of boat erosion going through there. So if we're fishing in 2 feet of water, that trail might be 2.4, 2.3, and that can make a big difference, which it did. Made a long cast. I ended up losing 2 big ones that just didn't, I don't know. They had the hooks. They had the hook and just kind of half-ass hooked themselves and they come off. So we kind of pulled down and made multiple casts, and I ended up catching a 6-1 or something on the spook. I tell you guys all the time, I take that middle hook off. This fish was the exact reason why. You know, I take the hook off, the middle hook off, and I upsized the 2. And I did a whole video on this, so any of you guys that have heard me talk about this already, sorry I'm ranting so long. But that's one less hook to get hung in the grass on, right? If you're fishing wide open water in 30 feet of water, fish 3 hooks. What the hell does it matter? But if a big one comes up and he's only on the back hook, instead of having 2 hooks exposed out of its mouth, to get hung on Kissimmee grass, needle grass, or reeds, you got one, right? And the other thing is, I can fish a bigger hook now. You know, I forget what these come with, but these are a big treble hook, right? So you get a lot of bite on that fish, and you've really got them. You're not playing with these little treble hooks. You can put some heat on them, which thankfully I had this because the fish ended up running through the Kissimmee grass, and I put a lot of heat on him. He wrapped me around a stick. The front hook got hung in the grass, but it ripped out, thankfully. And I just kept the pressure. She ran me around the boat, and you know, I ended up catching a 6-pounder. So now, you know, we're doing good. I forget what we had. I think we ended up with like 25. But a funny thing happened. Right after that fish, the wind completely died because we had a big storm coming in. And the wind totally slicked off. And I told Kelly, they are not going to eat this spook anymore. They're not. And I threw it and threw it and threw it, and they wouldn't touch it. And I told Kelly, you know, made the comment, get ready, because they're going to get back on that frog now. And this could be a complete stupid reasoning, stupid confidence thing. But to me, when those fish are up shallow, if the wind's blowing into an area, they just get keyed up and know, okay, if there's shad in the area, this is going to disorient, what's the word? Brain fart again. You guys, it's going to mess, my brain's not working. It's going to stir the shad up, and it's going to push them in there, and they get keyed up on those shad. When it slicks off, there's no more current or bait coming to them, and I feel like they get into bluegill mode, right? They'll just literally switch on a dime, or on a, you know, just on a switch. And literally when that happened, I watched Tarasenko, my buddy Alex, who ended up getting second, just absolutely maul them on a frog where he was. I mean, we were 150 yards from him, and I could hear the fish eating his frog. They were hitting it so violently. And I told Kelly, just keep it in your hand, you know, so something's going to hit it. I was going back and forth between the spook and pitching. My bites went way down. Right when we got back towards our trail, Kelly catches a 6-2, which was our biggest fish of the day. That put us right there at that 28-pound mark. We still weren't really happy with it. We wanted to keep fishing, but we got literally blown and lightninged off the water. So we had a really nasty storm come through. We ended up going to another boat ramp just down the way and kind of hunkering down for an hour. And what it was going to turn out was the storm was going to go through. We were going to have a gap, and then another giant storm was going to come through. And part of us wanted to run back to Clewiston, hunker down at Rollins, and then go out and fish for the last hour. But we got talking. I said, you know what? We said, we know where the fish are. I think even if we only have 10 minutes to get out there without getting struck by lightning and fish our area for 10 minutes, and we have to go in an hour early, I think we'd be better off. Because we didn't have a complete backup plan up around Clewiston. We didn't have any areas to fish. And we agreed on that. Waited for the little break in the weather. We took off. We laid our boat down, and literally we could see the rain and the lightning coming. I don't have it on GoPro because it happened so fast. Literally fourth cast on our point, I catch a 5.8, which cold up from a 4.12, which gave us almost an extra pound, you know, a half of a pound. And it was just so crazy how quick it happened. When we laid down in the spot, there was literally 3 boats already there. Kind of just, I mean, as rude as it might have been, we kind of went, you know, just kind of close to everybody because we had been in there all day and caught that big one. I thought maybe that would have done it, you know. And we just decided to call it and go in early, and that's what we did. So got in early. We were like the second boat to weigh in. The guys who had 37 were they had weighed in at like noon or something. So we knew we didn't win it. We thought we might hold up with second place, but then Matt and Nick came in and bumped us out, and then Alex Tarasenko, we totally forgot about him. He got to the weigh-in, and I was like, crap. You know, I know he's got a big bag, and he did, and he had the same we did. But all good buddies of mine, so super happy for them. It was just an awesome, awesome day. And, you know, that's what, you know, that's what's so crazy is you just never know on this, like 37 pounds. Talking to them, I don't want to tell their story for them, but talking to them at the weigh-in, they laid down in that area, and they both threw to a pad clump at the same time. Both got bit, set the hook, and caught dual 9-pounders as soon as they got there. They literally had 2 9s, an 8.98 and an 8.91 in the net at one time. you know it's going to be a good day, right? I mean, just insane. And their fish were spawning. The little group of fish I had found earlier in the week spawned, were not spawning anymore. Their fish were, I mean, their tails were bleeding in the weigh-in bag. I mean, they were on beds. So that's what's crazy. All of you that ask me about the spawn, there's literally 2 months out of the year they do not spawn on this lake. They spawn all year. We just have too many fish. The conditions are always too good. They're going to spawn. So, insane. Super happy with it. I'm going to play the fish catches for you guys. Hope you guys like them. And sorry I kind of talked for 20 minutes here, but this is a good way for me to reflect on the day too, and kind of learn and think about what we would have done wrong, what we would have done different. And at the end of the day with this one, I wouldn't have changed a single thing. And that's what makes this sport so cool. There's two crazy things in bass fishing. There's one where you're on absolutely nothing, you're not catching any fish in practice, and you just go wing it, and you come in and win a tournament with 28 pounds, and it's the craziest day ever. You weren't expecting to break 12 pounds, and the stars align. But there's another thing where you go in, you put in days and days and hours on the water, trying to dial these fish in, trying to figure out where you need to be, what you need to be throwing, and when you need to be doing it. Tournament day comes, you make the slight adjustments to the conditions that day, and everything goes exactly according to plan. And that's what happened with me and Kelly. I ended up losing those two big ones in the trail. Would they have really helped us? There's no telling, right? They were mowing a spook down. So a 4-pounder hits it like a 9-pounder. We didn't know. But at the end of the day, we lost, a couple of fish that we don't think were game changers. We stuck to our plan, and it panned out. So just a super fun day. So that's about it. I appreciate you guys watching. Enjoy the fish clips here at the end. Hopefully you guys learned something from my little rant here and what to look for. Tomorrow I'm actually heading down to the Keys. Me and Breezy will be down in Big Pine Key for 3 days for the weekend, Father's Day weekend. Gonna be doing some fishing down there, so hopefully if we end up getting into some fish and doing some cool stuff, I am bringing the camera equipment, so that should be the next video you guys see here on the channel. Till the next one, don't be afraid to throw Mr. Spooky. Don't be afraid to come to Lake Okeechobee and deal with the heat. The big ones are here, they're biting, and there's plenty of them. So I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate all of you that have liked and subscribed. Appreciate all of you guys that are leaving kind words in the comments. I read them all. And if you guys want to book a trip, let me know. 954-871-9976 is my number. Text messaging is best right now because I'm taking care of the little one. I never feel like I have a moment to breathe. But other than that, I'll see you guys on the next video. I appreciate you guys watching. Tight lines. Going big. That's the size of one we just caught though. Pull this out, dude. Talking about boy. Sure do.
Before.
Really?
She's small pliers right there. She hit it the bitch before. I felt like a strike and I pulled it
pliers for I wasn't. I was walking the bait and I looked down, I went, what the hell was that? And she was staring under it and I stopped it and she freaking crushed it.
Yeah, weigh it, right? Yeah. Let me get my bait from behind. It's tangled up.
What?
He said if we don't get us a big one, he ain't going for shit.
What about you throw a worm out there?
I wouldn't throw it long.
Well, what throw a 12 over?
Just to get it out of your head, but that guy just, I think he caught that fish. I don't think it was that big. He's had 2 good blow-ups out here on my spook. They must have like 15, 16 pounds. But he said if we don't get a big one, we ain't got shit. You would say that with 22, right? We still got a big one. You're in the wide open, so don't also. Just get us out there around that one piece of grass. You hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Lay the net down, just bring him right to it, right? Well, wait till he's ready.
I know it's hooking now. Pull us down right here.
I told you stick with that fucking spoon. Coach. I told you that fucking worm, didn't I?
Sure did. She taught me just keeping with the spoon. Oh, freaking dog. Now we cooking, boy. Now,
Get rid of.
2 1/4.
brought them down. Oh my God, Cody. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. What I'm talking about, buddy. I told you you were going to get them.
Another 5.
That's a 6. I might be
That's my line.